Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins season has barely begun, and already the heat is turning up on one of the NFL's most electric offensive players. Just one game into the 2025 campaign, and the Dolphins find themselves staring into the abyss after a shocking and disheartening 33-8 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. It wasn't just a loss. It was a complete implosion, a display of dysfunction that spanned all three phases of the game. On the defensive side of the ball, the Dolphins looked completely overmatched, allowing the Colts to score on every single offensive possession. 7 drives, 7 scores, and a former New York Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones, looked like a superstar under the lights. The defensive schemes seemed to evaporate on contact, missed assignments piled up, and the once promising secondary looked more like a collection of auditioning practice squad players than a cohesive NFL unit. Offensively, things weren't much better. Starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa struggled to find rhythm, throwing 2 interceptions and fumbling once, leaving the team's offensive unit in a state of chaos. Every attempt to string together a drive seemed to fall apart before it even began. The frustration boiled over in the most visible way possible. All-Pro wide receiver Tyreek Hill, normally one of the calmest and most focused players on the field, was caught on camera shouting at an assistant coach on the sidelines, his face twisted in anger and disbelief. For a player who has spent years dazzling fans with his speed, agility, and game-changing ability, seeing Hill reach this level of visible frustration speaks volumes about the tension simmering in Miami. Hill's unhappiness in Miami has been no secret for months. All through the offseason, whispers of his potential departure grew louder and louder, creating a maelstrom of speculation around one of the league's premier wideouts. Every sideline glare, every clipped comment in interviews, every slight shake of the head during practice seemed to feed the narrative that Hill was becoming increasingly disillusioned with his situation in South Florida. The debate among fans, analysts, and insiders was simple. Would the Dolphins trade Hill, or would they double down, banking on the hope that he could turn the ship around? According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the answer, at least for now, is clear. Despite the swirling rumors, the Dolphins have no immediate plans to move the star receiver. Fowler reported that the Dolphins did indeed receive calls inquiring about Hill, but the organization did not show interest in entertaining any trade offers at this time. Trade rumors around Tyreek Hill will be worth watching, Fowler wrote, emphasizing that while the phone lines may ring with curiosity, Miami is standing firm for now. The caveat, of course, is the looming specter of performance. Fowler added that if the losing persists, those lines may very well open up, suggesting that the Dolphins are playing a careful game, holding onto their talent while keeping an eye on the scoreboard. Financially, Miami has already exercised Hill's $15.85 million option bonus, leaving him with a $10 million base salary and $1.8 million in per-game bonuses. This commitment underscores the Dolphins' initial intent to build around Hill rather than move him. But as history has shown, the NFL has a way of forcing decisions when results do not match expectations. The speculation about Hill's future has naturally led to talk of a possible return to Kansas City, where he spent the first 6 seasons of his career. Hill's time with the Chiefs was legendary. He helped lead the team to a Super Bowl 54 victory in 2019 and established himself as one of the most explosive playmakers in the league. The connection to Kansas City is deep, and insiders have suggested that the Chiefs' current receiver issues, whether due to injuries, suspensions, or underperformance, could make a reunion feasible if Hill and the Dolphins were to part ways. For a player of Hill's caliber, returning to familiar surroundings where he knows the system, the staff, and the culture could be incredibly appealing, especially if he feels stifled or unfulfilled in Miami. Hill's frustration is not new. It dates back to the very end of last season. In a candid interview with ESPN, Hill didn't mince words about his feelings. "I'm out, brah," he said. "It was great playing here, but at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for my career." Those words resonate far beyond a single sideline outburst. They signal a player who is evaluating his legacy, his competitive environment, and his long-term trajectory. Hill is 31, in his athletic prime, and fully aware that opportunities to maximize championships and personal achievement are finite. His public admission of dissatisfaction adds fuel to the fire of speculation, and it also puts the Dolphins' management under the microscope. How do you handle a star player who is simultaneously under contract, highly skilled, and increasingly vocal about his unhappiness? The answer is not simple, and it's a dilemma that could define the team's offseason decisions in a very public way. Meanwhile, Miami faces the looming challenge of redirecting its focus back to football. The Dolphins are set to host the New England Patriots on Sunday, a matchup that suddenly carries weight far beyond the scoreboard. Fans will be watching closely to see how Tagovailoa responds under pressure, how the offensive line manages to protect him against a formidable Patriots front, and whether the offense can finally find cohesion. Equally important will be observing Hill. Will he channel his frustration into production on the field, or will the simmering tension continue to spill over into public perception? The narrative of this Dolphins season, at least early on, is as much about internal dynamics as it is about XS and OS. Coaches, players, and executives are now tasked with navigating a delicate balance of performance, personnel management, and media scrutiny, all while trying to win games in a hyper-competitive division. From a broader perspective, Miami's predicament underscores a recurring theme in the modern NFL. Managing superstar talent is no longer simply about numbers on the stat sheet. It's about culture, communication, and alignment of vision between front office and player. Tyreek Hill embodies that challenge. He is a transcendent talent with game-breaking speed, precise route running, and an innate ability to shift momentum. Yet, as the Dolphins have learned in a very short span, even the most gifted athletes require an environment that matches their competitive drive. A fractured dynamic, or one where expectations are misaligned, can quickly erode chemistry, leading to the very public frustration we saw last Sunday. There's also the fan perspective to consider. Dolphins supporters are passionate, loyal, and increasingly impatient after witnessing such a lopsided defeat to the Colts. Social media exploded with criticism, memes, and heated debates about the team's strategy, coaching decisions, and player commitment. For a city accustomed to highs and lows, seeing a franchise teetering on instability, just one game into the season, evokes concern, speculation, and a fervent desire for answers. Hill's outburst, while understandable, only adds fuel to a growing narrative that Miami's season could hinge not only on play execution but on resolving internal tensions before they spiral further. Financial implications, trade rumors, historical ties, and team performance all converge in this complex scenario. Miami has invested heavily in Hill, and they are clearly hoping for a return on that investment in both leadership and on-field production. Yet the NFL is a results-driven league, and patience can wear thin quickly. If the Dolphins cannot right the ship in the next few games, the conversation around Hill's future will likely intensify, with analysts, fans, and even rival franchises closely monitoring every sideline gesture, interview soundbite, and transaction rumor. For now, Miami holds the cards, but the balance of power is delicate. The next few weeks could very well define the trajectory of Hill's tenure in Miami, the Dolphins' competitiveness in 2025, and the public perception of a franchise that is suddenly under pressure from every direction. Ultimately, this is a story of talent, frustration, and the intricate dynamics of professional sports. Tyreek Hill remains one of the most electrifying players in football, capable of transforming any game with a single play. Yet talent alone cannot overcome organizational discord or systemic shortcomings. The Dolphins are now at a crossroads, tasked with managing a superstar's expectations, addressing glaring weaknesses, and attempting to salvage both morale and season momentum. Fans will be watching closely, analysts will be dissecting every action, and Hill himself will be calculating the best path forward for his career. In the world of the NFL, where every week brings new challenges, Miami's first loss may be the spark that sets off a chain of events shaping the remainder of the season. Whether that includes an eventual reconciliation or a trade scenario remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the Dolphins' season, and Tyreek Hill's time in Miami, has become one of the most compelling stories in football today. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Big news is buzzing through the NFL world. And if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you might want to sit down for this one, because things just got unexpectedly wild. The rumor mill has exploded with reports of a surprise arrival in Miami that nobody really saw coming, and it centers around none other than Dalvin Cook, the dynamic running back who has been a household name in the league for years. Yes, you heard that right. Dalvin Cook, the explosive playmaker, the guy who's known for breaking tackles and turning what looks like a routine play into something spectacular, is reportedly on his way to the Sunshine State to ink a one-year deal with the Dolphins. Now, the chatter started quietly, as these things often do, with a few cryptic social media posts, a shadowy figure spotted at Miami International Airport, and whispers from insiders who have historically been very close to player movements. Then, like a wildfire, it spread, and now everyone is asking the same question. What on earth is going on? Imagine the scene. It's a sunny Miami morning, the palm trees swaying, the ocean breeze lightly rustling through the city, and there he is, Dalvin Cook, stepping off a plane as reporters and fans start to notice something unusual. Sources suggest this wasn't a scheduled, high-profile press arrival. It was low-key, almost stealthy, as if Cook wanted to keep the move under wraps until the ink was nearly dry on the contract. But in today's NFL world, nothing stays secret for long, and within hours, photos started circulating online, showing Cook walking with his luggage through the terminal, Miami Dolphins gear subtly peeking from his backpack, and the excitement in the air was palpable. Every fan who had been watching the Dolphins roster moves, wondering if they had any chance at a game-changing addition, suddenly had their eyes widened in disbelief. Now let's talk context here. Dalvin Cook has had an illustrious career so far. He's a player who's never lacked for highlights, touchdowns, and those jaw-dropping runs that make you jump out of your seat. His time with his previous team was marked by incredible highs and, yes, some injury challenges that have tempered expectations at times. But one thing is undeniable. When Cook is on the field, he can change a game in a heartbeat. And now, Miami, a team that has been steadily building around its young talent and trying to assert itself as a perennial contender, is rumored to be bringing in Cook for what could be a high-stakes, one-year audition. The whispers suggest this is not just a casual addition. The Dolphins are potentially looking to add that extra edge, the kind of playmaking ability that can take them from playoff hopefuls to real Super Bowl contenders. But as any seasoned fan or analyst will tell you, the NFL rumor mill is always full of twists, and that's exactly what makes this story so intoxicating. One insider source, speaking anonymously but with confidence, suggested that this move had been in the works for weeks, if not months. Negotiations, of course, are always messy behind the scenes, and there's speculation that Cook was considering multiple offers before settling on Miami. Some reports hint that the appeal was the chance to play in a high-powered offense with a quarterback who can maximize his skills, paired with a coaching staff eager to integrate him into a dynamic scheme. Imagine a backfield where defenses have to account for Cook on every down, where the Dolphins' offensive line suddenly gains another weapon that can exploit holes with precision, and where fans get to witness highlight reels almost every week. That's the kind of speculation that has social media buzzing and betting lines adjusting. And let's not forget the cultural impact of this rumored move. Miami is a city that thrives on excitement, on high-energy sports narratives, and the mere suggestion of Dalvin Cook donning the aqua and orange ignites imaginations. Social media feeds are already flooded with fan reactions, mock highlights, and debates about how Cook will fit into the Dolphins' existing schemes. Pundits are asking whether this is a short-term gamble or a strategic masterstroke. Could Cook rejuvenate a rushing attack that's been inconsistent in recent seasons? Will he mentor the younger backs on the roster and create a dual threat that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep? The speculation alone is enough to fuel hours of discussion, and the fact that nothing has been officially announced only heightens the suspense. What makes this particularly intriguing is the timing. Dalvin Cook's arrival in Miami reportedly comes at a moment when the team is reshaping its roster and evaluating its long-term strategy. A one-year deal suggests a calculated, cautious approach. The Dolphins may be testing the waters, seeing how Cook fits into their system before committing long-term. But even a single season with a player of Cook's caliber could tilt the balance in crucial games, especially in the thick of the playoff race. Rumors from insiders indicate that both the player and the team see this as a mutually beneficial opportunity. Cook gets a chance to prove he can still dominate and stay healthy, while Miami gains a proven playmaker who can instantly elevate their offensive output. There's also an element of surprise and drama that you can't ignore. Dalvin Cook landing in Miami without the usual fanfare creates a kind of cinematic narrative. The under-the-radar superstar joining forces with a team hungry for relevance and postseason glory. Every media outlet, every fan account, and every forum is dissecting the potential impact, from his synergy with the quarterback to the chemistry with the wide receivers, and even the psychological boost that comes with having a player of Cook's experience and talent in the locker room. The whispers suggest that locker room morale is a huge factor here. Teammates are reportedly energized by the possibility of sharing the field with someone of Cook's reputation, and coaches are said to be scheming ways to maximize his skill set. This isn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. It's about leadership, energy, and the kind of intangible excitement that can define a team's identity for a season. And while the speculation is rampant, the narrative itself is what keeps fans glued to their screens. The idea that Dalvin Cook, a player who's seen it all, is arriving in Miami in a low-profile fashion, only to potentially redefine the team's season, is exactly the kind of storylines that sports media thrives on. The conversation goes beyond just fantasy leagues or stat tracking. It's about storytelling, about imagining the plays, the touchdowns, and the game-changing moments that could be just around the corner. Analysts are dissecting potential matchups, envisioning defenses scrambling to adjust, and projecting scenarios where Cook breaks off a 60-yard run to seal a game. Every angle is being explored, and the buzz isn't fading anytime soon. So, while nothing is official yet, the energy around Miami, the Dolphins fan base, and the wider NFL community is undeniable. The idea of Dalvin Cook in aqua and orange, even if just for a one-year stint, has created a whirlwind of anticipation and speculation. Whether this move turns out to be the blockbuster signing that shifts the balance of power in the AFC or a strategic short-term gamble, one thing is certain. Miami just became the center of an NFL storm, and all eyes are now on Dalvin Cook. Rumor or reality, the excitement is real, the chatter is unstoppable, and the potential for unforgettable football moments has never felt so close. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.